Now, in 1968, I was a freshman, a plebe at the United States Naval Academy, and this was actually my degree is in naval science and management, right? So if you meet somebody from the Naval Academy, you know that their degree is actually in naval science, right? How could there be? You know how to tie ropes. No, there's actually naval science, right? And so this is volume 3 of our naval science book. We had these books and I had a naval science class. And in that naval science class in 1968, I learned about something called the DX concept. DX. That was the new destroyers that were going to come out. A brand new type of destroyer. The World War II destroyers in 68 were going to replace the entire fleet of destroyers. It was going to be a paradigm shift. I didn't know the word paradigm back then. But it was going to be a paradigm shift. And they talked in this book, talked about the DX concept and the type of propulsion. And then I graduated in 1972. And in 1972, I was assigned to that ship in the bottom, the USS Mount Vernon LSD-39. It was brand new. It had just been commissioned. It sailed around the Horn to San Diego, and I met her in San Diego in the summer of 1972. Brand new. Steam driven. Do you know that most Navy ships were steam driven? Matter of fact, our aircraft carriers are steam driven. Even our ones that are where the heat is generated by nuclear fission, the heat turns water into steam to run the ship. They're all steam engines. And so that was the way ships ran. That 139, that's a steam engine, right? And as I went on that ship, it's a steam engine. In 1976, 4 years later, I was assigned to 967, which was a Spruance-class destroyer. I was assigned to the 5th ship of the class. This ship is not a steam ship. It's driven by LM-2500 gas turbine engines, the same engines on a DC-10 aircraft, adapted for Marine. So all of a sudden, instead of a steam engine running the ship, you had gas turbine engines. Instead of the carrier having to stop with the engine order telegraph and the guy down below and he has to close the head throttle and he has to... No, on this ship, you have it on the bridge, you have a control. You just make the engine go faster or make it go slower. It's that quick. And you had variable pitch props. And so on the first ship, you didn't have variable pitch props. That meant to stop the ship, you had to stop the propellers from going one way. Then you had to make them go. It took time. On this ship, the propellers always go the same way. You push a button, changes the pitch. And so instead of driving the ship forward, the pitch reverses and it pulls the ship backwards. Paradigm shift took place in what? I learned about it in 68. You got to know that in 1968 they were already working on the plans for this. In 1972 I was here. This thing was about ready to pop out, but we didn't know it. And then in 1976 I get assigned to it. So here's the thing, here's the point. All the new things that are going to affect you, the paradigm shifts that are coming down, they're already in play. People have already thought of this. They're already in play. We just haven't heard about it yet. The question is, do you want a future by default or a future by design? A future by default is the future that you have because you didn't die last night. A future by design is the future that you create for yourself. But to create a future by design, you have to step into the future. Now, that's kind of odd. How do you step into the future? It's easy to understand if you kind of look at a timeline, and where I stand today is the present. Where I stand today, on my right is the past, and on the left is my future. If I look at my past and I think about it, I can see all of the things that I had to do, that I did, to get to where I am today. It's easy for me to look back, 20/20 hindsight. I can say, I did that, I did that, I did that, I did that. I didn't have to do that one. I didn't have to do that one. I did that, I did that. And I'm here. How do you plan for the future? You actually have to step into the future. You actually have to step out into the future. And when you're in the future, you can turn around and look at the present. And you can see from that future position, what are the things you're going to have to do to get to the future. So how do you step into the future? The things that we've talked about are the things that are going to help you figure out the future. Going out and looking at the competition, looking at the websites, going deep into them and reading and visiting us on Realtown and at Realty Times so we can help you design your future by getting a picture of what that future looks like. So what consumers are looking for today, and you need to remember this, people want things fast. People will pay more if they get it fast. So we're back to the liquidity in real estate, right? People will sell it for less if they can get their money out quick. Convenience. Now, and it's not for everybody. It doesn't have to be for everybody. People want convenience. People will pay more for convenience. 7-Eleven. Have you ever gone to a 7-Eleven? You notice you pay more. Why? Convenience. People want choice, and choice is driving this. Today, there are so many more choices for real property, so much utility with real property. People want value added. Value added is when you give people more than they expect. So what can you do to give people more than they expect? I believe nuanced selling is value added, right? If you can determine nuance and determine things that other people can't determine, that's a value add. Your capability to determine human needs and desires is a value add. Discounts. People want discounts. That's why Purple Brick says, do you suffer from commisery? That's paying too much commission, right? That's why Redfin says, list for as low as 1%, because they know people want discounts. But people also want quality and service. That's why Purple Brick says, full service for thousands less. See, they're smart. They got this figured out. And people want information because, as Alvin Toffler said, information is the currency of the 21st century. And so we're back to change. Is the real estate industry too big to sink? Is it too complex? Are there too many things going on so that it will never sink? Well, I can tell you this, aircraft carriers can be sunk. It's not easy, but there probably are ways to do it. But what about the real estate industry? And more importantly, what about your position in the real estate industry and what you're doing in the real estate industry? Can you be sunk? And that's really a question that only you